with this higher Volksschule and Volks university. That's the kind of a school for adults, and here adult people can educate, get some education in languages, arts, culture, gymnastics, and traditionally every year we have exhibitions here in the Academy of Fine Arts and Photography of this whole school. So thank you very much for that. Anya and myself, we were thinking how we can do it so that inhabitants of both Swabis and Frankfurt they could join this festival. We don't want to make this festival for artists only. This is why we invite 5 or 6 artists who organize workshops starting from June, July. So they make these workshops for residents of both cities. It's called Labirynt Academy. So this year it happened same year. So I'd like to invite all teachers who run workshops. Maciej Sztanowic, Szymon Kobuszyński. So they run those labyrinth workshops. I think he's upstairs, so I'm not sure if he joins us now. Ania Panekusz also was teaching. But Stratman, who is now in Paris. But he was also involved in our workshops last year, but currently he got coronavirus and couldn't arrive here. So now I would like to present these artistic workshops, and then we'll walk along corridors and see different works from our workshops. And my suggestion is that participants of these workshops could say themselves something about their works produced during workshops. So let's start here from workshops that I ran. Of course, the slogan for this festival, emptiness and space, also affected my workshops. So during the workshops, we, together with students, we thought about, we first had a big discussion how to combine these two topics of emptiness and space, and then our participants designed their works, they discussed how they could produce them, and then it all brought fruit in these works that you can see on the walls here. And Anya will now tell us something about her workshops. Ladies and gentlemen, during my workshops we tackled 2 topics. One related to, referred to lines. And I was inspired by Jerzy Oleg's lines while choosing my topic. I wanted my workshop participants got into line mania that Jerzy mentioned, and that somehow happened. That while introducing this topic, when, as my participants told me, and I observed that we started seeing lines everywhere. So everyone became very sensitive to lines, details, forms, that then was manifested in the photos that you will be able to see. They are quite graphic and relative. I'm very proud of what was produced. So that was a topic to be penetrated individually. So everyone could do whatever they wanted, and we made this exhibition together. Next was that last year I gave away blocks just blocks for children, and I gave them away. We were inspired by Jerzy Duchamps and Jerzy Oleks, where Michel Duchamp was throwing a rope, 1 meter long rope or string dipped in paint, and he threw it on canvas. So I did the same. I gave a rope to my participants, and it depended on them whatever they would do that, whether they will settle it somehow in the space or put it flat, so that it was their choice how to arrange it. And there are some great works, and I never realized that from a simple object like a string you can get so many interesting things. Maybe now I'll give the floor to Szymon Kołysiński because he is here. Good afternoon, everyone. I must admit that when I drive my car, when I have this shield from sun, behind it I have a quote from my favorite Professor Rybakowski. He says that art is energy. That's a quote. And today I saw same piece of work in Urad. So I think this is a very apt summary of what we've been seeing and experiencing over the last few meetings. That's fantastic that people whom I met by chance, I could say, we could cooperate together, share energy, exchange energy, and that art flew in both directions. I also saw that curators used in the introduction of their catalog artificial intelligence, and we touched upon that too. Several works was also touched by artificial intelligence in one way or another, and it somehow resonated with Jerzy, because that was also my start in this presentation. Beginning, you'll see number 7, how you'll see how artificial intelligence tackled my photograph. Thank you, Szymon. I'll say a few words because then we should probably see Anna's results are further on deep in the corridor here. My workshops are just right here. You'll see the performance. And now I'll give the floor to Maciej Stanowicz. My workshops and a wonderful meeting that I had, I could also experience cooperation with 7 participants. So the workshops related to kinesthesia, topic of kinesthesia and awareness of movement and space surrounding people. And the starting point for experiencing space and time was Swoopford, so both sides of the river, Oder River, both Subice and Frankfurt. We experienced them by a multisensoric walk with our eyes closed, to be able to listen and touch, feel the space that surrounds us. That was also an expression of coming back to direct sensual recognition of the world surrounding us. What you will see in one of our rooms is in fact a recording from these experiences that took place over 2 days. Tasks were very varied and they all revolved around the general understanding and way of reading the surrounding reality. So I just invited this synesthetic journey across Swoopford. Now, I'd like to say a few words on behalf of Brett Shetman, who couldn't join us, as I mentioned. The title of his workshops was Between Spaces, and his approach was that we shouldn't discuss big artworks. We should talk about artistic gestures. So this is what he discussed with participants. So between spaces, he encouraged them to approach this topic in a different way. So we'll see it upstairs, the results of these workshops. Now we'll move to Piotr Zenkiewicz, who participated in my workshops, and Piotr invented a performance, but he doesn't want to say anything. So does your performance have any title? I would like everyone to interpret it for themselves. Thank you.
Performance von Piotr stehen wir hier vor den Arbeiten einiger Teilnehmerinnen und Teilnehmer. Ich weiß nicht, Gudrun, willst du kurz etwas sagen zu deiner Arbeit? Gudrun Kiesinger, eine, die in fast allen Workshops teilnimmt. Gudrun Kiesinger, która
Gudrun Kiesinger, who was involved in our workshops as well. So I'll give the floor to Gudrun. The topic of our workshop was emptiness and space, and using photographic means, I tried to express this, create spaces. By movements of camera and lighting, I created the spaces that you can see on the wall. These are fruits of my work. Uta Kurzweli. Again, space and emptiness. I wanted to approach different levels. That's text, Michel, right? And that's a fragment of an analog text. This text was written and I deleted parts of this text and stuck in a different place. So it's crumpled text. It meant I wanted to show what it means to touch the text, how much I can discover something new, emptiness or space. I hope that you'll all be able to see some space in um, this text. Now Darek Olechna, if he's here. Koleżance tam nadajnik też zdycha tak na marginesie. So I thought that I can use the zoom. What we photograph is space, but also great emptiness. So through some manipulation, I wanted to show both space and emptiness between the two focused elements, that is the photographer and the photographed object. You may judge for yourself whether it worked well or not. Konrad Czepe, I think I'll need to present it because Konrad is not here. Konrad is ill, that's the person who is sick.
Właśnie to dzieci Konrada, które pomogli Piotrowi w swoim...
Konrad's children helped Piotr in his performance, so the two small boys are Konrad's children. Konrad is a historian who runs the Museum of Former Prison in Frankfurt am Oder, when up until 1950s capital penalties were still performed. So he opened the former rooms to his to visitors. So when he heard this topic, space for emptiness, he made a photo of this room. He narrowed it a bit Edgar Allan Poe style. So here we have this very narrow version of this room. So he also wanted to make a performance inside this room because he got several different photos of this kind in different widths or widths or narrowness, and he wanted to make this performance. Unfortunately, he's lying in bed today and he couldn't come here. But I'd still like to thank him very much. And opposite to this picture, again, I'll need to make introduction because the artist couldn't come. Michał Klassen is our conceptual artist. There is not much I should say here because this topic, space for emptiness, is absolutely minimized. He's an engineer and works a lot on the computer. And only in his older works, he was able to narrow photography down to one pixel. And in here, it's also a sort of a game with a frame, no frame, etc. Thank you, Michał Klassen. Eba Habstadt, who is not there with us. For several years, he's been participating in our workshops, and he tries to find his ways in this conceptual approach to graphic art. So this photo has been taken through in a car mirror when you look backwards in a car mirror. So thank you. And the photo that you see, this in fact is the image that refers to this performance that Piotr Zetenkiewicz has just done a moment ago. That's all in this place from my workshops, and now I'll give the floor to Anna. Thank you, Michelle. I was telling you about the line, and on both walls here and between toilets we also have presentations. Now I'd like to invite members of my my workshop. I had a bit more. I had 8 participants: Kasia, Agnieszka, Ania, Inga, Karolina, Darek, Litka, and Agnieszka. During the first workshop dedicated to lines, all the people you can see here were involved, and you can see there were on this wall. This is the first series because finances are quite limited. We had to minimize these pieces to just 2 pieces for each participant. Karolina. This is the first line. The line never ends, and it's hard to show the moment when it ends in the picture. And that was my attempt, my play with game, where this real line starts and where the other reflected line starts and where it ends. Thank you. The second cycle, Gudrun. We worked with different materials and we tried to create some structures with different colors as well, so that's the result. The red and black. Our workshop took a bit longer than other people because I'm here in Słubice, in Frankfurt, so we went in to work in the field. We worked together in the studio. This is why these works are so varied. The third work that shows more the work in the field is Ania Łysiak's work. So lines, in fact, surround us everywhere, and my work was created when I was just observing the world surrounding us. You can see what lines are these. Maybe there are some other lines that are hidden. That's the place where I took this photo. Well, you could just see the lines. That's all. Thank you. Simplicity, minimalism, and finding the line. These were the main thoughts for us. Is Natalia here with us? Maybe I didn't call her and she is somewhere here hidden in the crowd. So, okay, let me tell a few words. Feet in water and water that creates lines. There is Natalia coming. It recently moved to the seaside due to some professional matters. We are waiting for Natalia to arrive. I'll just say that. Okay, she doesn't want to say anything, so I'll say something for her. So water inspired her to create these photos, and she put them to our group, and she didn't even have the idea that I'll ask to have these pictures, these photos, to exhibit them during this exhibition, because I thought that these photos are very coherent and valuable for the entire exhibition. Thank you, Natalia. Come here, show your face at least if you don't want to say anything. Okay, there she is, coming, very reluctantly. Artists can sometimes be like that, so shy. Now Iga Kush. So the last series, I try to play with shadows, the light, window, the shade of the window thrown to the wall. Thank you. When we move on deeper in the corridor, we'll see the next cycle by Witek Cholewa. He is a great documentarian, and he's now documenting our festival now. But you can also see his other works from the line series. Everything in the world is a line, starting from the light. This line, however, is a vibration. If something is alive, it certainly is a vibration, and I wanted to show this vibration of light. This is part of our life. Thank you.
Zapraszamy Darka Olechno, który już...
Olechna. Okay, he already had...
Oszukuje.
He's cheating. He said he already had something. There is not much I need to add now. Playing with objects and their shadow, you can get different results, and I succeeded in finding a triangle, a square. There was also a circle, but there was no way to hang it here. Thank you. His works were great. Each participant, each artist could have a solo exhibition. Now Beata Wysiak, the third cycle. That's a photo from a walk. A walk in search for lines, and quite by accident I was able to see and find those lines in their surrounding environment. There is a tree, a wall, and the shadow, and you see there is a line. So let's turn away. There is one work, but that relates to a different series. So let's turn to the other side. That's not a very glorious place. It was my problem that I'm showing this between the toilets, but that was the last place in this floor where I could fit them. So Agnieszka Woźna, the first artist. For me, it's not a problem where they are hanged. So I was trying to find an inspiration where I could find lines. So you could take the lines literally or not literally. So I thought that this glass is a very good idea, because there are two lines, and there is also the line of sand flowing through this hourglass, flowing vertically. So I thought it would be nice to see how the lines in the hourglass intersect, how they change, and then it would apply light in different ways. This is what I found.
Drodzy Państwo, wszyscy, którzy tu wystawiają, to naprawdę wspaniali
all artists exhibiting here are great artists, and they can perform technical miracles. And Katarzyna Skubisz is yet another artist who can do that. Thank you, Ania. For me, your workshops and tasks that you gave us, they are a big challenge for me. So I took several attempts to do that, and I think I was successful, and I wanted to approach a line in a very graphic way to create photos which are symmetrical. So I used glass in them, among other materials, reflections, and the phenomenon of refraction, and I hope that I was successful in fulfilling my task. Thank you.
Drodzy Państwo, żałujcie, że nie widzieliście
We should regret that
tutaj,
you couldn't
jak pani
see the
Kasia
backstage
robiła
here
tą
when
pracę.
Kasia was doing this
Naprawdę
piece, because it
fascynujące,
was
naprawdę kosztuje zawsze
really fascinating and it really
Kolejnym
costs
cyklem,
everyone a lot of
o którym
work. So
wspominałam,
another
jest ten
cycle that I
sznurek.
mentioned
Tutaj
was
wracamy
the
właśnie
string
do
that I mentioned.
buziaki. Ja
So coming back to let's just something more about yes.
dostaliśmy każdy
So do whatever they wanted to with the string. Ania decided to cheat a bit,
powiem szczerze, jej się do tego stopnia udało, że
and
jak
I think
wieszaliśmy
she was so
pracę,
successful that
to
when
ja
we were hanging
ułożyłam
this
ją
work,
wśród linii, a nie
I
wśród
arranged it
sznurów.
among lines
nawet
rather than
mnie, udało się
together with
Więc,
strings,
to jest
so
jakby
she cheated
pierwsza
even
z
me.
cyklu pracy
So that's
sznurków,
the
a
first
zapraszam dalej do
work
kolejnej
in a
sceny.
cycle of strings. So let's move to the
Zapraszam Piotra Zilitenkiewicza. Drodzy Państwo,
Piotr
mogliśmy zobaczyć
is the next person I'd like invite. In Michael's
workshop.
workshop we could see Piotr
Tutaj dojdą jeszcze do nas.
Zilitynkiewicz's photos. I think that these photos,
Mimo, że nieco na inny temat,
even though they have a slightly different topic and were done with a different teacher, to a large extent they combine in their charisma and imaging and style with our this string that acted with people. It resonates with people who create together certain shapes. On the other side, we've got the work by Karolina Zielińska. Is Karolina with us here? I know she was here. She was in Urad, but now perhaps she has already left. So Karolina Zielińska,
która posłużyła się cieniem.
who used shadow again and the string, it signals something, it tells us something, and simultaneously it is just a play in space. And the string is quite symbolic here. Another piece by Karolina Kończyńska. Can we see you? The small or the big one? The small one will be soon an artist, but the big one did this Gordian knots made of string. I hope that you all know the saying about Gordian knot, not to be untied. So I hope we'll solve it somehow. Yeah, applause. That's a good idea. I'll say very quickly about what these works touch upon. Is Magda Grochała with us here? Yes, she's there. The signature was lost here, but I'm glad that Magda could join us. Magda has a beautiful line. Amateur unit of artistic photography are young people I work with. During my workshops, Magda did this work about string, correlation and tension. Thank you, Magda. Here is a series that I think links nicely with black color and grays. All these photos are black and white. Gudrun Kissinger, the first series. She makes this string alive, making different animals out of it, animals that levitate. Another work of Iga Kusz, who is here with us. Iga, yeah, you can stand by me. So Iga tried to curve or bend space, and she obtained quite abstract forms I associated with Picasso. But this surface beneath wasn't surface, it was curved carton boards which correlated with it, so that's an abstract thinking. Katarzyna Skubisz,
która sznurek
who
zrobiła jako pyszne spaghetti.
who made her string to look like a delicious spaghetti. So I wanted to pay your attention to the form and graphics and minimal approach that we work with. And on the wall on the other side, a slightly different approach to the topic. Natka Misiak. Beata Misiak, sorry. She was trying to find horizon and space using strength. And this is how, using the strength, she built this relationship. So a round of applause. Here, we're a participant from younger group, Julia Mazurek. She invented that you can make some jewelry out of string. And the way she tied the strings to her friends and frames she made consciously or not entirely consciously made these photos very powerful. So applause. So there were many people involved in my workshop. So Dariusz Olechno, he played with line and space that can be obtained using the string with minimalism and without great care to form. He just said that it was to have a form of anything, not very readable. It was just to be an energy in space. So here is the artist. Kamil dealt with the research on how in time the string builds a different form. Here we have shorter time, so it's less, it's more blurred, and here it's more clear. So the topic is seeming the same, but it looks every time different. Is still Kaya with us? Is Kaya still with us? Kaya is also one of our younger participants. She's a laureate of regional photography contest, and she used the string to create landscapes and space. You can see a human character here. If we turn it around, we could see a herd of camels walking across the desert. And here we have Pola Klimaszewska, also a younger girl. She did yet something else with string. She made a great illustration to her story about friendship and love. She shredded it. Kamil, Darek, sorry. Are you here with us? Yeah. So he used the string to refer to addiction that smoking is. And it can lead us into different directions. And this is how he refers to strength. And on the other side, we have work by our youngest participant. She's 9 years old. So she created... Is Magda here with us? Okay. She made a ballet dancer who first is hiding in the shade because she is not very much convinced about her talent and capabilities, and then with time she gets more confidence and shows herself in full light. So that's the story behind it. And here we've got rather a flat form arranged like drawings. we draw them in one line. So these flowers here were drew
jednym ciągiem.
in one
Natomiast
continuous line,
ówczesna rumienica, ostre światło spowodowało,
and the sharp light
fantastyczną formę.
still using sharp line, this line made a fantastic form. Here yet another work that I wanted to show.
Które może być
The string can be a line of life.
która pokazuje, że jesteśmy na różnych rozdrożach.
It shows that we are at different crossroads and we can
Ale może być
go in different directions, or it can be just a graphical layout that also symbolizes nature or a floral form. Here another young participant who also shredded the
tutaj były przeróżne
string, and there were different interpretations. Initially these were trees, different. A pine tree, some leafy tree, but then in discussion we were trying to find a giant. We could see some character, a portrait. So I think that each of these pieces can be in any way treated. So now a round of applause for the person who actually pulled all the strings for Ania. So now let's get into the room. And this presentation, this exhibition is by Maciej Zdanewicz. I just wanted to add, in reference to what I mentioned before, that this work, in contrast to what we saw before, in fact, gets together into one group project. From the very beginning of this project, from the lecture up to discussions, we still worked in a group, and always in a group we experienced Słubice and Frankfurt. This is why the pieces that you can see here, they create this multimedia space, and they all get together into one multisensory reflection of what we lived and experienced together, starting from the photos that I need to say that were made automatically. I just asked my participants not to control what they did, so that the photos were taken regardless of themselves. So just a pure register, uncontrolled, the way we move across the space with our own dynamics, our own pace, in our own direction, so that it is all spontaneous. And also during our walk, we had some deepened analysis, what we hear, what we taste, what we experience. Eventually it was expressed by our participants and mixed in the audiovisual presentation that you can see here. And the whole is complemented by a soundtrack that was recorded as an attempt to reflect the audio part of our walk by the Oder River. So I think we'll slowly move to the second floor, because there are two more workshops, results of two more workshops to be presented upstairs. I'll just give a general overview. This is Uta Kurzweiler's work. She deals with collage, and you can see here that she created a space between using collage techniques, and then she made a photo of her collage. Wawelstadt. He tried to find spaces between. Here there is a little hole with a wasp going out of it, and between pillars over water, stone pillars. Erhard star. Gudrun. I was thinking very hard how to describe these spaces in between, how to interpret them. And I understood them as spaces where you can pass by, spaces that you don't stay in. So the spaces between are just passages to another spaces. And corridors reflect that. And I removed everything around, there is only the space between. So what I did, the real space out of these spaces in between. So these are the spaces between the spaces. And now Piotr. This is my installation, and it's untitled, but for me, it has a title. This is an old installation, and now I exhibited it at the Labyrinth Festival. And the title of this installation is You're on My Right. And now the next artist, Szymon. So to start with, I'll ask all participants to come closer and stand by me. Come here. Those who are performing here should come here. I made workshops from lighting, but it wasn't what really resonated in our cooperation. I think that what mattered more was our discussion, what I mentioned about my paths of research, both in technology and different masters that I mentioned. And I think that that was more important for participants of my workshops, because this is how I understand these works that were created with a lot of creative freedom. So I'd rather the authors to describe their works. Uta, if you could be the first one. Gudrun. Gudrun, sorry. Gudrun Kissinger. I think that these workshops were the largest challenge for me. Initially, we had a certain concept that we developed for our work. We didn't really know in which direction we would go, but then our idea changed during our work. But still, we continued to work individually with our results. And my pieces were created in a mixed technique. Monoprint combined with photography, and I wanted to show emptiness in space and spirit. So I tried to present here both positive and negative phenomenon of human relationships. The series is much larger, and I'm going to continue it further on, because this is... I didn't have a chance to finish this during these workshops, and it was a very interesting experience to work with Szymon. Now Kuba, his work. Dariusz, sorry, Olekna. It's not going to be easy to explain what you can see here, what I created. I was certainly inspired with what Szymon said about colors. The title is Metaphysical Meeting of Dimensions. In our world, in our universe, we meet different dimensions. Maybe I'll make a brief presentation to tell you more about it. This work is assembled out of 3 layers, and each layer presents a different dimension. The first in which I wanted to present is this dimension, which is upside down, slightly shifted. And if we would find ourselves in this dimension, we would encounter lots of uncertainties. The next layer shows the real dimension, what surrounds us, what we can actually see. But is everything that we see the truth? Well, we'd need to think about it. And the last dimension is an imagined dimension, something that remains unknown, slightly fantastic. Some phenomena, phantoms and illusions. That's it. I think that this piece involves layers overlapping each other. So the second overlaps with the first, the second with the third, and it gives, this yields nice results. And the light can play with it well and helps to look at this piece. So touch it, light it more, lift the layers and look for new dimensions. Thank you. Agnieszka? In my works, I was thinking about the relationship between the space and emptiness. Space is something very positive, something that creates opportunities for us. While emptiness is a kind of space, whereas it has this negative connotation very often, even though we have lots of space, we wander around the space while being in a void, in emptiness. So for this space to become something valuable, instead of emptiness, we need to create, well, we need to put some values into this emptiness to furnish it and arrange it somehow. My works were created also in the context of a hard moment I had in my life, when I had this feeling that even though I was not imprisoned or bondage in any way, I felt as if I were in this void, in this emptiness, that is space that doesn't provide me with any opportunities. And then I thought that in this case, what was key was to find something that would allow me to take me out, lead me out of this emptiness, that would allow us to create a space for further development in the space out of this emptiness. Thank you. I was inspired by Szymon's works. And Nick Knight's works. I wanted to say that in all emptiness, in every empty space, there is a light hidden that gives us a hope to lead us out of this emptiness and will make us feel better, safer. So you can see this little light here that will show us a path in the fog. You need to stand here because these two works are opposite to each other. They complement each other. So our concept were two works which hang opposite to one another. So you can stand in the middle and imagine that you stand in a place which you like, where you can hear silence. Of course, if there is no one around, where we can hear our internal self, we can feel harmony and be in silence. So try to stand here. Maybe not now because there are a lot of us. It's pretty crowded, but maybe when you come here in a moment, you'll see this mirror and look inside yourselves and feel the warmth inside you. Thank you. There's a question. It's not a photo montage, photo editing. I took a mirror to the place where I took this photo, and I used a real mirror out there. Photo montage, yeah. So there's a sunny point of view. So from my point of view, I try to understand and I questioned myself. I underwent some kind of psychoanalysis to understand how some experiences and traumas from our childhood affect us, how they shape us as adult people. So that's my personal story, sometimes about lack of empathy, envy, anger, sometimes shortage of love and tolerance, about people who, words that were never spoken out because there was not enough time. And this summary is emptiness, the well, bottomless well of my feelings from today. I don't draw endlessly. So these are the words, Carolina. When you look against the light, you can see something here. So I was wondering about space and emptiness, but in the context of relationships that happen between people, among people. So this piece has both sides. You should watch them from both different sides. Sometimes we are close to each other, but what stands between us? There is sometimes emotional stagnation, and this is the emptiness. So this story is about whether we look at each other or we are just looking in opposite directions. And in this story, what matters is the space between the two panes of glass, of image. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all teachers and first of all to participants of our workshops that are the academy, we could say, because the pieces, works that I created, you can see for yourselves their quality. Thank you, and now I'd like to slowly invite you downstairs and we'll move on to the next point in our agenda.